In Module 3, we created a data source that combines some economic data and some chronic disease data. And I created a very simplified version of that data that only contains the data for 2018 and only the obesity rates. And you can download the file from the campus page. And we're going to use it to write a very simple Python program that creates a scatter plot showing the percentage of the population with health insurance and the obesity rate in a state. And I'm going to start with importing a package called pandas. And pandas is a Python package that was designed to make it easier to work with relational or labeled data of the type that you might find in an Excel spreadsheet or a .csv file or in a relational database. And there's a lot of information available about that package at pandas.pydata.org, getting started /overview. But as we'll see in a minute, you can get information directly from within the Python notebook as well. I imported pandas with a shorter name, PD, because this will make it less tedious to write code that uses the package. The difference is, of course, not that pronounced when it comes to pandas, but as we'll see later, there are packages with much longer names, such as matplotlib.pyplot, and the utility of associating a shorter name with the package will be clear, certainly for those packages with longer names. As I said, it is possible to get information about documentation about the Python functions or the functions that are available to you in a package from within the Panda notebook, within the Python notebook. So what I'm going to do is PD. I know that there is a function called read Excel. I do a question mark and then run. Select run, and you'll see that the information about this documentation, about this function, is available at the bottom. I can blow this up as well if you like, so it becomes available in a separate tab in the browser. All right, we'll look at some of this later on in the module. But obviously, I'm not interested in just documentation. What I want to do is create what is called a data frame by reading the Excel file into Python. Now, a data frame is essentially the Python equivalent of a worksheet in Excel. And it's a basic data type that you use a lot in pandas. Now I can inspect, once I've read it in, I can inspect it by doing print. So let's run this. And you see that I start seeing the information that's available in this file to me. Well, it's probably a little bit too long. So if I just want to look at the fields that are available to me, then I can just type the columns. And you see what I have, unemployment rate, median family income, and so on and so on. Okay, so that's all of that is good. So I now have that data in my Python notebook, but I'm going to want to plot this, right? I want to create a scatter plot. Now, fortunately, there is a function in pandas called plot, but because this only runs over data frames, I need to include data frame in the expression here to get the information about that particular function. So we'll run this, and let's blow this up as well. And you see that, okay, again, we have the what it does, makes plots of series or data frame. And this is important. Uses the backend specified by the option plotting.backend. And by default, it uses matplotlib. Why is that important? Well, look, you see this function, this parameter kind here. And obviously that allows me to change the kind of plot I'm going to create. So scatter will give me a scatter plot, bar h will give me a horizontal bar plot, and so on. Now the way it works is that if I call the plot function with kind set to, for example, scatter, then in the background what will happen is that the matplotlib.pyplot.scatter function is called. Why is that important? Well, look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, for the time being, specifically import that, that library. And then I'm going to, and let's import it under a shorter name. And then what I want to do is get the documentation on the scatter function. Right, and I'm going to blow that up, and I'm going to leave that up because we're going to use that quite a bit later on. So again, you see there is a number of parameters, and you see what these parameters do if you scroll up and down here. The important one for us at the moment is the parameter S, that allows us to change the size of the bubbles in the scatter plot, and the parameter C, that allows us to create, to change the color in the scatter plot. So what I'm going to do is create an initial scatter plot. So I can get rid of this one, df.plot. And what I want is I want to plot percentage with health insurance against the obesity rates. And I want this to be in a scatter plot. Okay, so let's run this. And you see I get this scatter plot that shows me the percentage with health insurance and the obesity rate. Now, if I want, I can now start using all of these parameters that were available in the scatter function in matplotlib. I can use those in my calls to plot as well. So I can do as equals, well, I don't know, make it 5, and C equals right, and not read red. So let's see what that does. See, I get smaller bubbles, but they're red now. And if I set this to maybe 20 and try it again, then I get bigger bubbles. The point is that once you know which parameters are available to you in the matplotlib function, then you can apply those as additional parameters in the plot function that you get in pandas as well.